What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Johnny Nitafan, and in this video I'm going to be walking you through the 5 steps that you need to know to master the one call close. This is the exact framework that I've used to make over 6 figures this year, sell over $500,000 of life insurance premium all over the phone. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Share this with a friend if you find this valuable, and let's get right into it. First step that you need to know is have to master the first 30 seconds. So this is part of the introduction, right? So you want to start with a very non-invasive approach, and this starts with the introduction, right? So it's saying, hey, is this Johnny? And you end it with a question, and you that's where you want to start, right? Hey, is this Johnny? And you want to end with that high-pitched note, right? So that they usually respond with something like that, and yeah, you're like, hey, it's just Johnny. It looks like you recently responded to an ad online, or I'm just getting back to you here on regards to the request you sent in on Facebook for life insurance. There's a few things, and I want to break this down a little bit. So the first one is introducing yourself. You don't need to say company name. You don't need to say anything like that, but you really do want to say, hey, it's just Johnny. And that's it, right? Because that shows and signifies familiarity. You just want to buy yourself in the first 3 to 5 seconds, you want to buy yourself another 30 seconds of time. And so that comes with just asking the right questions. This is really having the problem that they may have with the solution and why you're there. You want to get straight to the point. And you listed the state you lived in or the hobby. The reason why you do that is because you want to give them something that they remember, right? When you're getting leads, whatever you can use as ammo to refresh their memory is what you want to do. So I usually say the state you listed that you were in Arizona. Is that correct? And you just want to get an initial yes. You can buy yourself a little bit more time. That's the whole goal of the first part of the call. Now, once you get past that first part of the call, you want to always end what you're saying with a question. And I really like to use the acknowledge, answer, and ask, right? Super basic, triple A's, acknowledge, answer, ask. So whatever they say, you acknowledge it. Okay, great. And then you answer, right? Okay, great. That's awesome. And the state you lived in was Arizona. Is that right? Okay, great. That's acknowledging and answering, and then you want to ask another question. This is a great first objection framework as well to use when you're just starting off in the call, right? So if they say, I'm not interested. Okay, no, that's perfect. That's exactly the reason for my call here. Perfect. That's exactly why I'm calling in that call, right? So you, at the first part, if they give an objection right up front, hey, I'm not interested anymore. Hey, I didn't fill that out. Hey, I already got it taken care of. Hey, perfect. That's exactly the reason for my call here. And then you want to answer that and then ask another question, right? And so I actually go deeper in this, and I have a full top 9 objections word track found in my private Facebook community down below. So click the link down below in the description is the first one. Just click the link down below, apply to join the Facebook community, where I actually go deeper in this and have all 9 word tracks that I use, especially at the beginning of the call, to be able to master the first part of the call and keep the client on the phone, right? So you get past the intro, got them on the phone. That's awesome, right? So now you want to go into the second phase, which is really explaining the process. And so in the middle here, I ask a few questions, right? So it's really kind of feeling it out. If they're really going to give me more time, I'm just going to go straight into setting the stage and explaining how the process works. Now, there's another way you can go about this. If they're very like, yeah, or I'm not sure, I just go into asking another question before the first and second step. So I would ask, hey, were you looking to go more down the traditional burial route or cremation route? Were you looking just to kind of cover the final expenses, or possibly leave a little extra for the family? And I would ask kind of these questions just to kind of get a little bit information up front. Now, there's going to be a whole discovery phase here in the next part, but those are just some questions just to continue getting them bought in on the call. That's the whole goal at first, right? Now you want to go into, let me just kind of explain how this works. And there's 2 different ways I kind of do this. The first one is this. Let me kind of explain how this works. It's really simple and basic. It's really kind of more for us to find out like what you might be eligible for, what you have in place now when something does happen to you, compared to what you might be looking for as far as that financial protection, just to kind of see like what that gap looks like to see if we can actually help. And then at the end of this call, if you feel like this might be what you're looking for, we can discuss possible next steps. Like, would that help you? Notice, like, when I'm going throughout this call, I'm like nodding my head. I'm not even talking to them on Zoom and face to face. They don't even see me. As your body language really goes, your tonality is gonna go with it. So I'm always like, would that help you? Do you remember that? That's really that next step, right? Setting the stage, really explaining how this works. I'm actually a state licensed underwriter here in Arizona. So my job here on the call is basically to let you know what options you qualify for. And it's based on your age as well as health. And then actually look around for the product and then the actual coverage that'll give you the best rate. Would that help you? Yes? Okay, great. Then on this same step, you want to qualify the client medically. You want to qualify their health, right? So you want to get as much information here as possible. What's your birthday? They say that, okay, awesome. And then I usually say, you're still super young. That's awesome. And then from here, what city do you live in? Okay, awesome. And have you been living there for a while? And they say, yes, no. Okay, did you just move there? And then you kind of build a little bit of rapport there. Building rapport comes from just getting common ground with them. It's not asking about the weather. It's not asking about those things, but really just getting more as much. This is priming them to open up later. That's kind of on step 3. You want to get as much information as possible on this section, right? So on that, I really just try to get as much information as humanly possible that I can on them, and this is really arming me. And while I'm doing this, I'm usually pre-qualifying them online, so I know what options they're going to be eligible for. Right after I get all the health questions, I usually say, just to see if you qualify for that savings plan, you do have an active checking account, right? And they say yes or no or whatever. The reason why I ask this is because, as you guys may know, there's 2 different ways the client can pay. Either that's a direct express card, which a lot of seniors have, like based on Social Security, they get money from the government and they don't get paid into a bank account. It comes on a card. Some carriers pay as earned on this, some advance on it, and give you advanced commissions on it. But I want to know that up front based on pretty much who I want to go with, right? So for me, I work with Senior Life Insurance Company, and I'm just going with them. However, some companies may advance on that. I really want to be able to dig deep in when I do get the banking, because I do want, obviously, to get my advanced commissions, just like how you do, right? Nobody's really wanting to get paid as earned, especially when you come in the industry and you're only getting a $20 deposit rather than a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 deposit that you could have if you got the banking, right? And that's going to go in after, but that's a little tip to get banking up front. Plus, it's more sticky and the retention's a lot better. So that finishes and concludes the second piece. Now, the third piece is to gain credibility and ask why questions. I usually say, hey, go ahead and grab a pen and paper and let me know when you're ready. I just need you to write a couple things down here for me. Have them write down my state producer number, have them write down my phone number. If we're able to find something that is comfortable and affordable for you, I'll be your agent for life. How's that sound? And again, shaking my head. Yes, okay, great. So we got that. Boom, done. With that number, you can actually go to the Department of Insurance website, find me, just realize that I am a licensed agent and that I can help you out with this, okay? Now, and then I go into why questions. So after I get the credibility, after I get them a pen and paper, writing down who I am, not just a random guy, but I am a person. Sometimes I send pictures of me to them, text messages, hey, this is who you're speaking with, just so you know. But then going into the why question. So this is really digging deep. There's a few things that you want to make sure you get on this piece. The first one is finding the problem. So you want to find the problem. You want to find the gap of what they're looking for and really paint the picture of what their life is going to look like without this solution. Really painting the picture that if God forbid something were to happen, like what's that going to look like, right? And so I say, God forbid kind of something were to happen to you, like who is going to be your beneficiary? And they say your daughter, and it's like, okay, kind of walk me back here, like say God forbid something were to happen to you 3 days from now, right? Because none of us know the exact time or hour, but let's say you passed away, like would she be able to pay for those final expenses? No? Okay. And do you have any coverage in place currently or not yet? Not yet. Gotcha. Okay. Sounds like this is important to you, right? Yes. So you want to not only find the problem, but you want to label them with this problem. So it's like, I love being able to say this because on a sales call, especially a one call close, you want to be straight to the point. And the only thing you should really be speaking about is what they say and like retelling them what they say, just so they feel understood. And that you're there. So when they say my brother just passed and he didn't have any coverage, we had to come out of pocket. Oh, geez. And you said that you had to come out of pocket for those final expenses? Yeah. Oh, geez. I'm sorry for your loss. And I mean, did he get buried or kind of cremated? And then they say whatever it is, buried or cremated or whatever they did with it, and really highlight that problem and say, okay, like it sounds like it was really challenging and tough for you kind of coming up kind of with that money. Is that right? And I'm assuming he didn't have any coverage in place currently. So it sounds like this is really important to you, making sure that insert beneficiary name, your daughter, your son, your husband's not left with that same burden, kind of how you were left. Is that right? Yes? Oh, wow. Okay. And I guess let me ask you this, and this goes into the trial closes. So, I mean, if we could find something that is comfortable and affordable for you, but most importantly, able to make sure your final expenses were paid for, is there anything you could think of to see if we could even get you qualified? And they'll say no. You ask a no-based question to trial close, and this is where the sale is made right here, right? So I want to take a little step back though. In the solution phase, you not only are labeling with them with the solution, you also want to label them as how they are, right? So if they're wanting to make sure their kids are taken care of, if they're wanting to make sure their spouse or husband's taken care of, this is how I go about that, and labeling them as a positive trait, as a caring person, as a loving person, as a kind dad. I'm hearing from you is it sounds like that your family's lucky to have somebody like you. Like a father like you that's just thinking ahead, and you want to take that burden so they don't have to think about it and they can be prepared. And I talk to a lot of people, and some people, they just really don't mind like just acting like this stuff doesn't exist, and they don't want to think about it. You know what I mean? And it sounds like if God forbid something were to happen to you, you just really want to be that kind of loving parent, making sure that those final expenses are paid for. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? Boom. And you reiterate that, bang, your family's lucky to have somebody like you. Boom. And then from there, I'm like, okay, like, can I ask, like, how come like this is so important to you? And they'll say whatever they say, and that's really solidifying that. And because this is not what I've learned this from other people, but when you ask why questions, when you ask like why, like how come this is, like why is this important to you, it's like me asking, hey, like why do you like, why is your shirt blue, or why do you like your shirt being blue? And then you start as the client, like I'm talking to you, hey, why do you like your shirt blue? From there you start protecting it. I like it. It's my favorite color. That I really love this because X, Y, and Z. Client that you're talking with on the phone is closing themselves at this point, because it's like, how come this is like protecting your family so important to you? And from there, you're literally not only creating the problem, getting the solution, but like they're selling themselves to you, giving you reasons why it is important to them and why they need to do it. And don't forget to subscribe down below as well. Found this valuable because I'm going to be dropping a ton of stuff, as well as just a sneak peek into the full final expense telesales mastery course that I'm actually going to come out with very, very soon, that I'm working on. Don't forget to subscribe down below and also join the community. So that's step 4. Now, step 5 is going into talking about features and benefits of the policy, but then also asking for the sale. So in this part of the process, I'm really going into, okay, is it okay if I kind of share some of the features and benefits of your policy? And one thing to buy a little bit more time on this is say, while my system's calculating rates, I do want to share about some of the features and more so the benefits of your policy. So your policy is actually a permanent whole life plan. Really like sharing that, right? And each benefit, I usually keep it 3 benefits. I say, okay, first one is that the rate's never going to change and the coverage will always stay the same. And then I share like why that's valuable for them. So some companies out there will go up every few years. This is actually going to lock that rate in for the rest of your life. So say even you were to live the next 50 years, your rate would stay the same. And each benefit that I go through, I end it with, does that make sense? Just getting micro commitments, making sure they're tracking with. Now, also, policy would actually pay out right away if something were to happen, okay? So say God forbid something were to happen to you right after we get off this phone. Benefit would actually pay out to insert beneficiary's name. Does that make sense? And the reason why this is important is because some companies make you wait 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 years for the benefit to actually pay out. This would pay out right away if something were to happen. Does that make sense? Could be valuable for your family. And then also builds cash value every single year as well. So if you're ever in a tight spot, later down the line, you do have access to these funds, boom, 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 whatever your features and benefits of the policy is. So there's a few options here that they're kind of recommending, and I go into presenting options. I go top, bottom. Okay, it's really going into this point, you're gonna ask for the sale. So I'm presenting 3 options. I say, this is the max you qualify for. Is that comfortable? If they say no, okay, not a problem. How much too much is that number? Like, where do we need to see that number to where it is comfortable for you? I'll say, oh, under $100, perfect. Then the next option you present is under $100. Now, or just based on fully benefits, right? So this is based on the benefits that they want, like how much coverage they're looking for. But you want to present 3 options there. Most of our clients go with this middle option because it'll X, Y, and Z, explain why the benefits are important to them, so on and so forth. Then you say, Miss Betty, from those 3 options, which one would you feel most comfortable with leaving behind for Anthony when that time does come? And you wait. Next person to talk loses. Obviously, in your situation, really making sure that Anthony's taken care of and he's not left with a big financial burden. Which one out of those 3 options would you feel most comfortable with leaving behind for Anthony? And I just sit and pause. Once I get a commitment, then this is a bonus tip, right? So we got all past the 5, we get them to commit, and then you use this bonus to really solidify the sale. And I guess let me ask you, Ms. Betty, like, even on your worst month, say the refrigerator goes out, say that the a tire pops out in the street and it's like super unexpected, is this still comfortable for you? Like, even on your worst month, day in and day out, is this going to be comfortable for you? Because right, the only insurance that's going to pay out is the one that you have in place when you do pass. So is this comfortable for you? And you get that reinforcement, close the sale, and from there you go through the application and close the deal. So that is how you actually master the one call close in the final expense space. I hope you guys found this valuable. Don't forget to subscribe down below, give me a like, and let me know in the comments down below if you like this, if you found it valuable, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.